This all started when DCMS launched the testbed program. The DCMS program was a catalyst of driving awareness about 5G in the industry, both from a vendor side and across the mobile networks and also the industry sectors. We were the first phase, and that was one of 6, and we were awarded £4.5 million, and our focus and what we were focused about was how 5G with Industry 4.0 can drive productivity improvements in a factory environment. We started with a hypothesis, and the hypothesis was it would drive a 1% improvement in productivity. That might not seem a lot, but in manufacturing, they drive each year for a 3% improvement in productivity, and 1% might consist of, maybe 60, 70, 80 type of individual activities. So it's a significant improvement that we were looking at driving.
AWTG are delighted to have been a part of the W5G consortia from its inception to the end of the second phase, exploring the value 5G could bring to manufacturing. Our role as systems integrator means we designed, deployed and commissioned the network. Next, we delivered the use cases that produced the exciting results regarding improvements in performance and productivity. Over the life of the project, we experimented with infrastructure from different vendors and learned a great deal regarding mobile edge computing, network slicing and spectrum sharing. We invested a lot of time understanding how to optimize a private 5G network to work more efficiently for industry, and are pleased to have delivered the first 5G Industry 4.0 network in the UK.
We deployed a baseline 4G network and operated it very close to the LTE's theoretical limit. We then upgraded to 5G by deploying 5G new radio cells. Indoor and outdoor cells were deployed and connected to an open source core network developed and hosted by the 5G Innovation Center, which is 5GIC, at the University of Surrey. At the end of 2019, we migrated from the 5GIC core to a local core solution at a commercial grade private network platform was therefore established. The private network allowed flexibility and unrestricted access to optimize the network design for better applications performance. We identified opportunities to uplift the 5G performance as the volume of network devices increased. The private network can be designed and tailored to achieve optimum operational performance for Industry 4.0 unique applications. W5G have established an end-to-end 5G network. It is commercial and built to high spec. It is ready for the industry application developers to test their solutions. When we began in 2018, it was the first time a 5G network had been deployed in a factory environment in the UK. AWTG's network design and operation experts applied their 4G expertise and 5G theoretical knowledge to design a quality radio network that was able to operate in challenging factory environments. At every stage and in every test, 5G performance was shown to be superior and more reliable than 4G as expected. AWTG used all our expertise to ensure the integrity of the benchmark results. We achieved success because of the collaborative culture established by the W5G consortium. The culture meant that AWTG were able to deploy the network on time and under budget. The results from the testbed use cases prove 5G benefits Industry 4.0 products and applications. Use case benefits from 5G were due to faster data rates and a marked improvement in service availability. In the case of augmented reality remote expert and visual monitoring use cases, 5G was able to handle multiple streams of 4K and Ultra HD video. 5G's capabilities meant we ran out of cameras before it reached its performance limitations.
The evidence is clear. Using the right technologies and a safe pair of hands, 5G will transform industry, especially manufacturing. From the production line, logistics and distribution to post-sale support, 5G makes a real and measurable difference. It can improve productivity while reducing costs, and AWTG now has the skills and experience to deliver this around the world. What you've just heard helps explain why this week researchandmarkets.com have included the Worcester Industry 4.0 testbed and AWTG in their 5G Industrial Game Changers report. The UK as a whole can and will benefit from private industry-focused 5G networks and has the spectrum, the people and the technology to make this a reality.
As part of our programme, we were focused on a number of areas. Preventative maintenance and the role that 5G and Industry 4.0 can play in that. Augmented reality. We were looking at how you design a secure network, but then also give an assurance to manufacturers going forward that they have something that's secure and would meet their needs. There was a skills work stream. We identified that you probably need different skill levels for people in a 5G manufacturing sector, and overall, I mean, these new learnings were at the cutting edge, quite frankly. And it was about building a network, a 5G network, something that nobody had done before. And we actually were the first UK's 5G network in a factory environment.
As part of the Bosch Group, we are targeted to deliver productivity improvements in our manufacturing operations every year, year after year. And as part of that productivity drive, we were already starting to deploy various Industry 4.0 strategies in our factory at Worcester as part of our overall Smart Factory initiative. So, when we were invited to join the Worcestershire 5G testbed, we jumped at the chance, as we saw this as a great opportunity to accelerate our learning and development in this important area. Our use case was to develop smart and predictive maintenance. In other words, rather than deploy dumb, time interval-based maintenance strategies, we wanted to develop real-time performance and condition monitoring, so we could develop much smarter, only when needed maintenance regimes, and in turn reduce the amount of downtime on each machine. The high data volume, low latency that a 5G network provides is perfect for delivering that real-time capability. We've learned an awful lot, both about the 5G network itself, but most importantly about the skills and competencies that we will need in-house, and most importantly, what data to stream in order to develop a real-time understanding of the characteristics and behaviours of each machine. It's been fascinating to see engineers getting super excited about the changes in performance data collected by moving a tiny sensor 2 millimeters to the left on a 300-ton power press. I can't believe how excited they've got at these changes and this learning. So what about the future? Well, we're very eager to continue the learning that we've started. We're confident that we can travel much, much further on this journey, deliver the productivity gains that we predicted at the beginning, and go much further in developing the smart factory of the future. We all know that the fourth industrial revolution will happen, and we at Worcester Bosch want to play our part in that exciting development.
Mazak became involved in the 5G project because we saw two key opportunities. First was that we wanted to work with local business partners on developing local opportunities in new technologies. Secondly, we wanted to be the first to take advantage of potential improvements in networking that come with 5G, particularly in the areas of the Internet of Things, IoT, and Industry 4, where we have long suffered from networking and connectivity issues. There have been many learnings that we've taken from the 5G project, but perhaps two in particular can be highlighted. Firstly, we've broadened our exposure to new technologies in other industries, particularly networking and telecoms. And I think we now recognise that we need to pay close attention to what is going on in other businesses and other areas of technology, as well as the machine tool technologies. Secondly, we've I think, begun to create a culture, development culture within our wider business. So not necessarily just in our development departments, but in other areas of our business. So we've had some fantastic ideas from apprentices, from field sales engineers, from production line staff, and going forward I think we really want to start taking advantage of this broader pool of knowledge. The next phases of 5G will bring the biggest opportunities, we believe. Technologies such as mobile edge computing or slicing will allow us to offer services to and from our machines much more effectively. We believe that if 5G can become ubiquitous in every factory, then the management and maintenance services that we can offer will bring huge productivity gains to all of our customers.
Kinetic's role on the programme was to lead the security by design elements in conjunction with our partners and to deliver two specific security use cases, one associated with network security assessment, the second one associated with application security assessment. Kinetic has got a long and proud heritage in Worcestershire, over 70 years, developing new concepts, taking those through to capabilities that are deployed, robust and secure for customers both military and commercial. And working on this programme with DCMS and our partners, we were able to expand our knowledge into the 5G domain, taking skills and techniques we've already got in different communications technologies and being able to bring those to bear on the 5G environment. Security by design is really important because 5G really offers a massive opportunity for enterprise customers. There are lots of new security features in the 5G environment and lots of capabilities that it offers that allow enterprise customers to really think about brand new services and really business critical information services that they're going to be able to deploy. They're going to be able to monitor new things using IoT sensors. They're going to be able to connect to their customers and their supply chains in different ways. They really are going to be able to expand what they're capable of doing using mobile communications, and this will see a revolution in the sorts of things we'll see deployed. Different frequencies are involved in 5G, so we're going to see different infrastructure being deployed both inside and outside of premises. Mobile edge computing to help with the latency requirements is also going to be deployed. And there's going to be a lot more configurability about the infrastructure that's going to be deployed for solutions using 5G. This will include, like I said, the edge computing elements, but the software definable elements of the whole virtualized network are going to involve a lot more different equipment in that infrastructure. So we're going to see businesses really want to adopt this technology, but really wanting to understand the end-to-end security of those information critical services that they're wanting to deploy. And that's why security by design is going to be so important to be thought of right at the beginning, taking an information risk-based approach, considering things like confidentiality, integrity and availability of the information that they require, and designing that into the end-to-end solution. Now let's consider the two use cases, starting with network security. Here we looked at two elements. The IP element and the implementation of Release 15 of the 3GPP standard and its controls, and the radio access element and its potential susceptibility to interference, whether that be malicious or unintentional. When we looked at the application security, really we worked with Bosch here on their preventative maintenance use case and the XKD sensor. What we found when we looked at analysing the XKD sensor, there were a couple of issues associated with its software, which Bosch were able to modify and improve, and that really increased the information availability for their deployment of over 100 sensors. So a really good opportunity to show early application testing bearing fruits and benefits for the way that that particular use case around preventative maintenance was deployed. So the learnings we've taken from those two use cases have helped us to develop 4 specific services that we can deploy and utilise with customers thinking about adopting 5G. First one really is an extension of our existing network security design services. The second one really is allowing us to look at network testing. So we could audit, for instance, an RF environment that a customer wishes to utilise and make sure it's going to achieve the connections and bandwidth thresholds that are really required. Then we move on to effectively the application testing. We already do that on 4G. How are we going to make sure the 5G applications deliver what is required? And finally, we looked at the IoT sensors, not only the sensor itself, but the way the platform operates and the way it provides data over the infrastructure, such as 5G, and making sure that was secure. All of these enabled us to look at how we could deploy an end-to-end solution that was utilising 5G, which would be robust and secure. So As we see in today's times, it's never more important to have great connectivity and digital resilience.
We wanted to do a study to understand what the barriers were to the UK delivering the benefits of 5G, but from a skills perspective. We knew that there was a lot of investment going on in various 5G testbeds, but the question for us was, what happens if they're hugely successful? Do we have the people in the UK to do something with it and realise all the benefits? I interviewed 40 thought leaders from across government, academia, the mobile network operators and industry. And I talked to people like the chief scientist of the DIT, Mike Short. I talked to people like Ronan Dunn, who is from Verizon. I talked to people like Derek McManus, who's the CTO of O2. Tim Gain from Mazak. I talked to people from Bosch. I talked to Rahim Tafazoli from 5GIC down at Surrey, and loads of other real thought leaders across 5G. And I asked them questions about what they felt the barriers were to delivering the benefits of 5G in the UK. And pretty much after interview number 6, I realised that actually they all touched on the same sort of 10 themes. There was a couple of nuances around the edge, but it seemed that the barriers or the challenges associated with 5G and delivering the benefits of 5G in the UK are actually fairly clear, which is fantastic. And the 10 themes which are in the report are things like, we don't have enough engineers in the UK. We're about 100,000 short a year. And the ones that we do have, actually 50% are over the age of 50. So they're the guys that put in the 2G and 3G networks back in the 80s, and they're starting to want to retire now. But the issue with that is that we don't have the young people coming in the pipeline through to replace those retiring engineers. And it's a risk, it's a gap. We're 100,000 short a year. And also the engineering workforce in the UK is, no surprise, it's predominantly male. Age diversity and gender diversity are very real concern and a huge barrier for us delivering the benefits of 5G. But despite some of the challenges with the existing workforce, that's not going to stop the UK from rolling out the network, because actually there's upgrade paths from most of the telecoms network suppliers that will take you from 4G and 3G to 5G. However, when industry wakes up to the benefits of 5G and the step change in productivity that it can deliver, well, then we do have a problem on our hands, because there just simply aren't the engineers to deliver all the in-building networks. There aren't the data scientists to process all the data and the masses of images that 5G can capture, for example. So there is a very real issue, it's just not right now. But there are some other interesting things that we found out. Our thought leadership panel really felt that actually it's not really engineers that are going to stop us from delivering the benefits of 5G. It's actually upskilling everybody else, the teachers and the doctors who can help inform what products and services that we develop. It's the games designers and the architects, so that we develop products and services which really rely on 5G and use it in a really innovative, unique way to set us apart from other global regions. So it's kind of everybody else. And there's a huge opportunity to reskill some of the people whose jobs will become less relevant in the future, like lorry drivers, and again, potentially teachers and doctors, when e-medicine and e-teaching become more commonplace. So there's a great opportunity to reskill people across. Once we'd established those insights, we got together the thought leaders and we said, well, if those are the insights, what are we going to do about it? And we came up with 18 recommendations that we then prioritised based on the amount of impact they would have and the ease of implementation. The recommendations we came out with are about 5, and they're really interesting. They're things like, let's get a high profile group of thought leaders to talk to young people about 5G. Let's talk to business leaders and help them make sure that they've got the skills to understand the benefits of 5G and how it might affect their businesses going forward. And I'm pleased to say that some of those recommendations are already being picked up by other organisations like West Midlands 5G, who have kicked off a mentoring scheme with some young people from Aston University Engineering Academy, and we're kind of talking to them about 5G flavour that's coming and how exciting it might be as a career for them to go into, and how an awareness of 5G might help inform their choices going forward. I think it was a really interesting piece of work. I'm hugely grateful for everybody who put in. I think the issues are relatively clear. I suppose the issue always is then, what do we do about it and how do we go on about solving it?
The Worcestershire 5G Phase 1 testbed I think has delivered many learnings and certainly exceeded the hypothesis that we started with of about a 1% improvement in productivity, because we saw 2% improvements in productivity, which if you actually take the mantra we had at the time of taking things local, regional, national, international, at a national level that would have made a contribution of around about £3 billion to UK PLC. So it's an important contribution, important learnings. The DCMS Trials Programme has provided a firm foundation for the 5G agenda, and in my opinion been a massive success and helping to raise interest in the ecosystem, particularly in the mobile networks, who, again, when I was at O2, there was some scepticism about the role of 5G and how you actually can commercialise that. I think the trials programme has raised that interest, and people are investing heavily because they can see new revenue streams that maybe they wouldn't have seen before. So a clear success for DCMS, and they continue to push that forward. We at Worcestershire 5G consortium, we continue. We now are exploring how you can actually look at driving productivity, working and collaborating with other test beds along the supply chain, because if you can drive productivity improvements in the factory, then what more could you drive along the supply chain? So really interesting, and certainly I would encourage anybody who's watching this who wants to get involved to contact us, because we're going to be pushing this agenda forward over the coming year, and I think the Worcestershire 5G testbed is going to be around for a long time as we explore many of the things that we've taken to date and other applications as well. So it's there to be used, and we welcome as many people being involved as possible.